If you watch our present so-called president, he spends most of his time either in his child or his parent ego state. He never gets into his adult ego state unless he's reading off the teleprompter. And he is such a poor reader that oftentimes he makes mistakes and then he is instantly in his child ego state right in front of your very eyes. It's absolutely fascinating to watch it happen.
Speaking of our president, a lot of people say that racism has risen under him.
Anybody who doesn't say that hasn't been paying attention. It absolutely has. The kinds of things that are being said in this country today are things that he has said for the last 2 years. He has said them publicly, and he got elected because he said them publicly. We have a group of people in the United States of America who were in response to 8 years of a black man in the White House and the possibility that they might have from 4 to 8 years of a woman in the White House will elect anything that walks and can chew gum at the same time. Last election, as far as I'm concerned, was a direct response to having a black man in the White House for 8 years. And it's time to change the White House to the President's house. This is ridiculous. To call the place where the President of the United States lives the White House, it sends the wrong message. I remember when Richard Nixon said to a group of reporters, "I'm trying to save the White House for you white people." That says it all. And at that moment I thought, well, wait a minute. Now this is something that has to be changed, and it has to be changed. Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. It's time to change the name of the White House to the President's house or the President's residence, which has a nice ring to it, don't you think?
Let's just say that President Trump is trying to bring the country together like he said he would do. Wait a second. He's trying to bring the country together. How would he go about doing that?
Resign. If he really wants to bring the country together, all he has to do is resign and take his, with him, the second in command, the vice president. That would bring the country together. But right now, the only way he can bring the country together is put somebody else in the president's office. He does not know how to be a president. He does not know what legislation is about. He does not know how to do this job. He didn't intend to get this job. And had it not been for the Electoral College, he wouldn't have this job. Mrs. Clinton won the popular vote. The only reason we have this person as the President of the United States right now is because the members of the Electoral College didn't do what that Electoral College was designed to do. Thomas Jefferson designed that to make sure that no one who was unfit for that office would ever be elected President of the United States. The Electoral College last year absolutely defeated that.
You criticized President Trump.
Did I?
One thing that a lot of people have criticized former President Obama on was not speaking out on race enough. Do you think he failed in that?
What if he had spoken out enough on race? Imagine what would have happened to him. The man is still alive. Do you remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Do you remember Malcolm X? Do you remember all those people have been killed not because of the color of their skin, but because of the fear of white people, that someone who isn't white is going to look better, sound better, act better, do better than they do. Mr. Obama was the president of all of us. He wasn't just the president of black people. He was the president of all of us. The man who's there now is and claims to be the president of the people who look like him. When he says, "Make America great again," what he's really saying is, "Make America hate again." And until people in this country and people in this world get it into their heads that the first modern human beings that evolved on this earth were black women, they evolved in sub-Saharan Africa about 280,000 years ago, and every human being on the face of the earth today has the memory of those black women's genetic structure in their genes. Now, we don't want to admit that, but that's the way it is. As people moved farther and farther from the equator, their bodies produced less and less melanin, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. As they moved into the east, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of vegetables, so their skin took on a different tone. You don't really want to get me started on this because
I do want to get you started.
I'm really angry about how we are miseducating the American mind. They could kill me, but they couldn't kill the idea. Victor Hugo said, "No force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come." The idea of one race, the human race, is an idea whose time has come. We are not going to be able to stop it no matter what they do. They can elect Trump after Trump after Trump, and that will not stop the idea that there's only one race on the face of the earth. It's the human race, and we are all members of it. You and I are cousins. Now, if you don't like being my cousin, that's too bad for you. But we are all in the same family. We are members of the family of man.
And I'm real sick of hearing people say, "To make America great again," because that word "again" means go back to the 50s, which was real good for white men, but wasn't worth a damn for people of color and women. You need to know that, and that's what this fool wants us to do.
Wow, those are very wise and kind words from Jane Elliott. And America is facing a difficult question right now. What kind of a nation is becoming under President Trump leadership? Because many feel racism has become more louder, cruelty has become more acceptable, and division has become normal. And when a leader uses language that targets immigrants, minorities, or people of color, it sets the tone to the entire country, you know? The words that come from the White House can inspire unity, or they can fuel fear, or even hatred. So let's get to see more reactions, then I'll come back with more commentary, all right? Let's dive into it.
Right now, Trump's second term is locking racism, sexism, and hate into policies that will outlive every one of us. If this were just the bloviations of one blowhard, which is all he is, it might make us mad. It might even hurt our feelings for a minute, but it would fade. But instead, he has surrounded himself with people who think just like him. But frankly, I believe external forces selected him because he was malleable, because his ego is so huge that he can be led around like a puppet on strings just by flattering him. But however it happened, together they are engineering systems that will be almost impossible to dismantle. His first term stacked new damage on top of old racist structures this country never tore down. Housing discrimination, voter suppression, unequal justice. Biden spent his entire presidency trying to undo that mess, and he couldn't. Many would say that he wasn't up to the task. I would throw in that we should not be electing 80-year-old people into the presidency. That's a young man's job. Well, now Trump has returned with a battle axe. He's slashing away at DEI, women's rights, civil rights. All these protections are going by the wayside. These aren't just fleeting headlines. These are systems being built to last, and they're designed to harm for generations. They don't care about the morality of it. They care whether it builds them power and money. That's all they care about. This is why we cannot think of racism as just individual people's prejudices. When it becomes law and policy, it becomes a machine. White folks especially need to see this clearly. Ignoring it lets the gears grind on. Racism is systemic. It always has been, and it's being rebuilt stronger right now.
He's made it clear throughout his life that he believes black people are inferior. Like he believes that to his core, in his bones. He wouldn't let us live in his buildings back in the day. But also, when you hear some of the stray comments he makes, he clearly believes in a genetic hierarchy of humanity and is racially determined. So he is a tried and true, dyed-in-the-wool racist. Like, in the core of his being, he's a racist. So, I don't want to hear what he has to say about what he's done for black people. He's done very little for us, and he is, at his core, truly a racist. And you even hear what he says about immigration and which countries he wants people to come in from. They all are very white.
That is true. That's something pretty universal about them.
You know, racism in this country ain't just ignorance. It's a business plan. And Trump, he didn't invent it, but he sure as hell ran with it. He took the oldest hustle in America, fear of the other, and turned it into a campaign slogan. Think about it. Every time he called Mexicans rapists, every time he said that black folks lived in hellholes, every time he pointed a finger at immigrants, he wasn't talking, he was training white America to believe that their problems got a color. That's not politics, that's psychological warfare. See, when you got no answer for healthcare, no plan for jobs, no real way to fix the cost of living, you give people an enemy. You whisper in their ear, it's them. If they weren't here, you'd be fine. And folks who are already got that poison in their heart, he gave them permission to pour it out in the open. Then he went further, cutting diversity programs, banning anti-racism training, telling federal workers that they don't even have to talk about discrimination. That's not neutrality. That's protection. Protecting the system that built this country on inequality and then calling it colorblind. Blind is right. Because you got to close your eyes to see how racism runs through housing, healthcare, education, every corner of this nation. And what's the result? Hate crimes go up, people emboldened, civil rights protections roll back like they're optional. And while we're fighting each other, the people at the top are laughing because divided people don't hold anybody accountable. Here's the truth. Racism ain't just about hate. It's about control. It's about shaping what you believe, who you blame, and how you vote. That's why it works like mind control. But the antidote, knowledge, unity, and refusing to play their game. We don't win by becoming what they fear. We win by refusing to be manipulated, by remembering the Constitution don't belong to them, it belongs to us. And if we don't protect it, they'll rewrite it before our eyes.
This isn't going to be a breaking point for a lot of people because the only reason Donald Trump felt comfortable posting that racist depiction of the Obamas is because he knows that's a big chunk of his fan base. He knows that they're racist, or else he wouldn't feel comfortable posting something like that. I think there are different categories of Trump supporters, but there is absolutely no denying that a huge chunk of them are just blatantly racist, and that's why they like him. So no, for a lot of his fan base, this isn't going to be a deal breaker for them because this is how they truly see people. This is their actual views. This is why they support him. This is why they love him so much, because they see themselves in him. Is it disturbing? Yes. But I think more people need to come to that realization that it's unfortunate that there are so many of these people out there, but there are. And that's devastating.
Donald Trump is running the most openly racist immigration regime in modern American history. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Donald Trump's mass deportation system makes me think of what a modern day slave patrol would look like. Slave patrols were armed groups empowered by the government to control, intimidate, and terrorize people solely based on color. That's what's happening now. Donald Trump is sending mass agents without warrants into communities of color to terrorize the people who live there. And the reason that I want to make sure that I draw out this link, because we heard Maxine say that black and brown is coming together. I want to be clear about this. This should not just be the immigrant community. This should be all of us united, because we know united we stand, divided we fall. And unfortunately, this last election, we allowed ourselves to be divided.
When Trump was elected, I was shocked. I was like, why would anyone vote for someone like him with intelligence? Then I realized sometimes it's not just about intelligence. It's about ignorance and how people were programmed to hate. America is a melting pot for sure, but ever since they are little, very young age, they divide you by labels, by colours. But even white people, they discarded their own identity. They don't call themselves, I'm from Germany and stuff like that originally. No, they call themselves white. It became a term to justify white supremacy by getting rid of their culture, essentially. Yes, America was founded by racism. I hope everybody knows that. And in the 50s and the 60s, it was normal. People were segregated by colours, white only. And how they treated black people, like a whole race of people, as slaves. To use them as a foundation, to step on them, to build America. And they grow up thinking that it's the black people that's the problem. They're in the ghetto. But when you systemically put them in a bad place, you give lands to white people only. They did. But everybody, when they are underprivileged, disadvantaged, when they have to work for free for 200 years as slaves, being forced here, how can you pull yourself from the bootstrap? I really think the whole thing is just reflecting something that is already here. The reason why they voted him was because the hate and ignorance, the programming, it was just reflecting backwards of the culture itself. It all clicked to me. It was like, oh, it makes sense now, because those kind of people that thinks they are superior than the other person, still exist. And they think they are the native, the conqueror of the land when they are, well, I mean, it's the Native Americans. But now if they see someone who looks like Native Americans, they'll be like, yeah, let's deport them. Trump is the perfect representation of bigots, for racists, and for people who think slavery was actually justified and okay. They did it in Africa anyway, but not like the transatlantic slave trade. An entire race of people at this scale, and they don't force them to work for 200 years and something. It was like if they committed a crime to work for a certain period. They had slaves in Greece, okay, and they abolished it. Can you say it's okay? No, and it was quite recent as well. I think we really should do better as human race. As a human race, no more division, and understand that they play this pyramid game, and it's always the 1% on top. While 99% of us, regardless of race, are the poor 99%. Unless we fight back. Unless we realize the truth instead of siding with the predators up there. Instead of being comfortable in your privilege while everything is getting more expensive to live. That affects you as well, globally. Resources being bought by billionaires, there's less for you and more expensive for everyone, including global south. It's all connected. Guys, it's all freaking connected. And you think it doesn't concern you. We need to unite as humanity. I mean, who's gonna do it? If not you and me.
This is about the soul of America and what kind of a future people are willing to accept. Because when racism becomes normal, nations don't collapse overnight. They decay slowly. It starts with policies, then silence, fear. Then people begin accepting things they once would have condemned. And this is how societies lose themselves. And many Americans today are deeply concerned, not just because of Trump's language, but because of what it symbolizes, you know? They are reacting to seeing cruelty celebrated as toughness. They are reacting to watching compassion dismissed as weakness. And they are reacting to a country where some people seem more angry about immigrants seeking survival. And when immigration is discussed only through fear, punishment, or suspicion, society starts seeing people as human, you know? No nation becomes great by humiliating the vulnerable. No nation becomes strong by demonizing outsiders. And no nation earns respect by turning suffering into applause. When a leader repeatedly speaks in ways that seem to demean immigrants, minorities, or other groups of people, it sends a message. It tells citizens they matter less, and it tells others their prejudice is acceptable. Because leadership matters. A president is not just a politician. A president is a mirror. They reflect the values of people who support them, and they amplify the direction of the nation. If a leader chooses dignity, people can rise. But if a leader chooses division, division spreads. And this is why so many people feel uneasy right now. Real strength is confidence. Real strength is justice. And real strength is protecting borders and protecting humanity and solving problems without losing your conscience. Meanwhile, America's image globally has taken damage. Around the world, many people viewed America as a place of striving, but right now, many see a nation consumed with polarization, culture wars, and bitterness. Allies feel uncertain, and when neighbors begin seeing each other as enemies, our democracy weakens. Anyway, the world is watching, and one day, children will ask what people accepted, what people ignored, and what people stood against. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.